Thank you. I've always wanted to have a foam gavel, so I'm going to use it. They're outside from one of our fantastic sponsors. Thank you so much, everybody, for having us here. Hello, bonjour, Quay. If you ever wanted to know where is the county of Carleton, you're here right now. So it is my great pleasure, great honor to welcome you to the FOLA Fall Plenary, and we wish you a warm welcome. Now, I'd like to bring you all back to a moment of seriousness. We're going to leave the foam gavel on the table for a little bit, and I'd like to ask you to think about what you thought about when there was certain talk south of the border about the 51st state. And I know for me, and many of my colleagues, many of us reflected anew on the beauty and sanctity of this land that we call Canada. And I therefore wish to start today by acknowledging the dignity and beauty of this unceded territory and its Indigenous people, which is the traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. So let us take a moment, reflect on that, a moment of gratitude, a moment to acknowledge this beautiful Jojo Aki, this unceded land, and recognize that the Algonquin Anishinaabe people have occupied and been guardians of this territory, Canada, since time immemorial. And meanwhile, like so many of us, so many other Indigenous peoples, I should say, they were not present when Canada's Fathers of Confederation asserted the existence of a new country called Canada in 1860. And so I invite you as officers of the court to let us come together to recognize our role collectively and our role individually in correcting this mistake and completing what I view as the unfinished business of Confederation to find balance. And I would like us all to bear witness to our role in either hindering or helping reconciliation. Let us learn from their history and acknowledge their spiritual and natural connection to their homeland, which remains unceded. And let us extend our hands in friendship to further the goals of reconciliation and peace within this country to make it more just, which I believe to be the key to a peaceful coexistence. The dignity of this purpose, to learn how to further justice and reconciliation in our community, cannot be overemphasized. As members of the justice system, when we meet, we debate issues, we seek general agreement to the greatest extent possible, and I think that it is very touching and beautiful, actually, that this year's Fall FOLA Plenary is taking place in Canada. And the reason is that Canada means village in Huron Iroquois, and it's only fitting that we're coming together here today as a village. And one of the things that I love about FOLA, that I discovered about FOLA when I was able to attend these events, is that it is absolutely fascinating and downright cool to hear about people and hear about people's communities from all over the province. It blew my mind hearing that it took someone 11 hours to get to Toronto. Like, this province is so enormous, and the issues that our communities face are so diverse. I want to thank you all for the incredible discussion we'll have today, for the debate, for the respectful debate. And I view it as quite eloquent and touching of our profession that when we disagree, when we can't come together in agreement, we look to disagree respectfully. And when our clients can't agree, we look to our courts to uphold the rule of law with transparency and due process. And I'd like to commend all the work that each of your associations does individually and FOLA collectively for trying to uphold the rule of law and trying to uphold due process. And we are so lucky to have an independent and exceptional judiciary, something that I'm sure each and every one of you reflects on day in and day out when you look at the news that we hear from the South. You, as our jurists and those that support the justice system, all have critical roles to play in our legal community. Those roles are all different, but equally important to ensuring that society functions the way it should, the way it can be, to ensure that society is the best version of itself. And throughout the past challenges and answer to future challenges to come, I know that FOLA and each and every one of your individual associations will continue to support you and your colleagues in your community becoming the best legal professionals that you can be. Our success, FOLA's success, is built upon the strength of our diversity in our community associations. Now, I'm the first to admit that the life of a lawyer is hard. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're like, it's really hard. Sometimes you don't have childcare, and it's triply hard. And to ask people to volunteer their time when they feel like they're drowning already seems like a bit much. Notre métier comme avocat-avocate devient de plus en plus complexe de nos jours. Les pressions, croissance du marché juridique, les besoins du facteur des heures, de commercialiser notre service et de surveiller notre bilan, toutes ces choses rendent la vie de plus en plus complexe. But today, if I can ask you to take a moment to recall why you became a lawyer. Bien, pour la plupart d'entre nous, c'était probablement pour faire une différence dans le monde. It was to make a difference in this world. And you do make a difference. We stand up as lawyers and legal professionals for those who cannot stand. We confront issues, whereas others look away. And as a legal community, we have demonstrated resilience, adaptability, and a deep commitment to our profession, our clients, and the rule of law. And more than anything, we always remember our importance as officers of the court to prioritize the greater good of upholding the rule of law in this country. And I'd like to talk to you about something that may be uncomfortable, because I want you to keep an open mind about a greater good that needs to be considered. I need you to come with me on my request to just consider it. And my request, the objective is to protect the greater good, to protect the rule of law and uphold legal excellence. In Ottawa, we have allowed paralegals to access our law library for as long as I've been on the CCLA board, which sometimes feels like forever. And why? We have done it because they serve the public as legal professionals. As a legal community, I believe that we have a shared duty to facilitate their access to the best legal resources. And I know that this is not a popular belief. I just want you to keep an open mind. I am calling on you, and the CCLA is calling on you to consider, just consider and discuss with your members, demanding that the Law Society require paralegals to pay learn fees, the same learn fees we pay, in exchange for getting access to law libraries. And the reason is because they are regulated professionals. They have jurisdiction to appear before certain tribunals and to appear before the small claims courts. And I believe that as lawyers, as officers of the court, we have a collective obligation as members of our legal community to ensure that we are all competent, not only lawyers, but also paralegals. And this includes, and in fact, the CCLA and FOLA have argued that this necessitates fully funded law libraries and access to law libraries. We cannot take that position on the one hand and then also take a concurrent position on the other that paralegals should be excluded and cannot have access to the very resources that we argue in our submissions as lawyers are fundamental to ensuring competence. As we sit across each other here today, or as we sit across each other at council table in your own individual practices, don't we want everybody to be competent? Don't we want everybody to be good? Don't we want the public to be served appropriately? Now, I understand the CCLA has different resources than other legal communities. I get that. I'm just asking you to consider it. Each of your associations have long been pillars of support for each of us, for your members in your community, offering education, professional development, mentorship, and advocacy. And I am calling on you here today on behalf of the CCLA on our collective ability to work together as friends to make the entire legal community thrive. Our community may need to broaden, to build on all of our regulated professionals through social events, professional training, and amplifying voices, which remains at the heart of our mission. What I'm asking you today is to start with something small, which is law library access if they pay learn fees. I encourage you to aspire to this. In the words of Winston Churchill, we make a living by what we get, we make a life by what we give. This is an opportunity to give access in exchange for payment and share the chance of increased legal excellence in our entire profession. Je félicite chacun et chacune d'entre vous pour vos efforts. We're going to make this year an exceptional year by coming together as a community, and I know it's what we do best, and I give you my greatest thanks, and I simply thank you for your consideration of my request. Thank you very much.